Hey there, mythology lovers. Have you ever thought of Bheema, the mighty Pandava, as anything more than just the strongest warrior on the battlefield? What if I told you that Bheema wasn't just all muscle, but had a heart full of love, a mind of strategy, and even a surprising talent in the kitchen? Stick with me, because these hidden layers of Bheema are going to surprise you. Bheema wasn't just known for his physical strength. He was also a thinker, a man who balanced brute force with intellect. After grueling hours of battle training, Bheema would spend time studying the ancient scriptures and gaining knowledge from the Vedas. One story highlights his wisdom during a debate with Yudhishthira. The Pandavas were discussing their strategy for battle, and while many expected Bheema to suggest pure brute force, he instead argued for a more nuanced approach. He advocated for focusing on disrupting the enemy's morale, rather than simply relying on overwhelming power. His advice was so insightful that Yudhishthira praised Bheema's deep understanding of human psychology and warfare. This showed that Bheema's real strength wasn't just in lifting heavy weapons, it was in his ability to think critically, adapt to different situations, and balance his physical might with intellect. His wisdom on the battlefield was as crucial as his power. During the 13-year exile of the Pandavas, the most unexpected side of Bheema emerged: his talent as a cook. The exile was filled with hardships, and one of the ways Bheema kept the spirits of his brothers high was by preparing meals. Later, during their year in disguise, Bheema took on the role of a cook in King Virata's palace. Here, his culinary skills shone brightly. The guests of the palace would praise the meals, never knowing that the cook behind these dishes was none other than one of the greatest warriors in Indian history. Even the mightiest warrior has fears, and Bheema's was rooted in a childhood trauma. As a young boy, Duryodhana, out of jealousy, plotted to drown Bheema by poisoning him and throwing him into the river. Though Bheema survived thanks to his divine connection with the Nagas, the experience left him with a deep-seated fear of water. Despite this fear, Bheema never let it dictate his actions. In one instance, when he was tasked with rescuing people trapped during a flood, Bheema set his fear aside and jumped into the waters to save lives. His bravery in overcoming his fears added depth to his character, showing that strength isn't just about physical power, but about confronting one's vulnerabilities. This story is a reminder that even the strongest among us face fears, but real courage is in how we rise above them. Though Bheema is often associated with the battlefield, there were moments when his strength was in his ability to negotiate and make peace. A lesser-known story is from the time when Bheema was sent by Yudhishthira to broker peace with the kingdom of Matsya. Bheema was reluctant at first. After all, he was a warrior, not a negotiator. However, his loyalty to his brother and the importance of the mission pushed him to take on the role. When Bheema arrived at the court, he managed to win the trust of the king through his sincerity and clarity of purpose. Rather than relying on intimidation or force, he used logic and reason to present his case, securing the alliance without ever drawing his weapon. This story reveals that Bheema wasn't just a man of action. He knew when words could be more powerful than weapons. His ability to switch between brute strength and diplomacy showcases his true versatility as a leader. Speaking of family, did you know Bheema had a son with a Rakshasa princess woman named Hidimba? His son, Ghatotkacha, was part human and part Rakshasa, inheriting immense strength and magical abilities. In one of the most emotional moments of the Mahabharata, Ghatotkacha sacrificed his life during the Kurukshetra war to save the Pandavas. Bheema's grief was immeasurable, but his love for his son transcended even the battle. This bond between father and son shows that Bheema's heart was as powerful as his arms. Bheema's reputation as a warrior wasn't just built on his raw strength. His unorthodox battle tactics made him a fearsome opponent. One of the most iconic moments from the Mahabharata is when Bheema uprooted an entire tree and used it as a weapon against his enemies. During their exile, Bheema took a vow of celibacy to remain focused on his warrior training. One story that exemplifies his dedication comes from their time in the forest. where Bheema was tempted by the luxurious comforts offered by a powerful princess. Despite the allure, Bheema remained committed to his vow, choosing his duty as a protector and warrior over personal pleasure. For one of the most dramatic moments in Bheema's life. And now, the final battle with Duryodhana. Throughout the war, Bheema carried the weight of a promise he made to Draupadi to avenge the insult she suffered at the hands of Duryodhana. In the last, fateful battle, Bheema fulfilled his vow by striking Duryodhana's thighs, crippling him and ensuring his defeat. This moment wasn't just about revenge, it was about restoring justice, dharma, and keeping a promise made to his beloved family. What can we learn from Bheema's story? So, he wasn't just the muscle behind the Pandavas. He was a loving brother, a devoted son, a disciplined warrior, and a man who wasn't afraid to face his fears. He balanced wisdom with strength, making him a truly remarkable character. What surprised you most about Bheema? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into mythology.